So good evening and welcome to Tips from the Top. Tonight we have a very special guest and one of our newest Emerald ambassadors from our team, Brandy Walker. And I am so excited. One of my very, very favorite things about this business are the friendships and relationships that you have formed. And Brandy has just become such a dear, sweet friend. And I'm so thankful that God just brought us together through Plexus. And I'm so thankful for the success she's had health-wise, and then, the success that she's had now being an Emerald ambassador, and just an amazing leader and a really sweet friend. And I'm so even more excited because Brandy was actually one of the product testers for the newest Slim. So I thought how God ordained that she was put on the calendar like 2 months ago to do this night right after the big reveal. And now she can openly talk about her experience with the new Slim. So I thought that's just kind of a little extra added bonus that we have for y'all tonight. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to Brandy, and she is going to share her testimony and some tips. If you have some questions for her, please feel free to put them in the chat, and then we can do a little Q&A at the end. So I am going to go ahead and turn it over to you, sweet friend.
Okay, thank you so much, Angie. Y'all, I'm super excited, and I'll be honest, I'm a little bit nervous. This is probably one of the biggest calls I've ever done. And so, again, I'm Brandy Walker. I'm a brand new Emerald ambassador as of March. So, when Angie first asked me to do this call, I was honestly floored because I really didn't feel like, I was worthy of that. I mean, it was tips from the top. So, but she started talking to me, and she was like, you just went Emerald, and people want to hear, kind of how you did it. And so I'm just going to kind of share with y'all a little bit about my health journey, and just kind of, just some tips that we've learned along the way. Can I say we, because I don't feel like just I went Emerald. It was my team as a whole. I mean, we all worked, really hard together. They just really came through. And so I just want to kind of talk to y'all about that. I just want to say thank you to Angie for believing in me and, asking me to do this call. She's been a huge inspiration to me from day one. She's always encouraging, and she just has an incredible story of her own that really inspired me. And I'll just tell you a real quick story. Last year when I went to convention, it was just me and Ann that's on here and Melissa Galler. So it was just 3 of us that went to convention last year. And we were at winter's dinner, and we were all super excited to be there, but we didn't really know anybody. It was just kind of 3 of us. We knew Julia, of course. And Angie just came and sat down with me at the table, and she just talked to me like I was her friend. And I was telling her that today, that really, it just made a huge impact on me. So don't ever doubt, Angie, the impact that you make on people. Just that little bit of time that you took to sit down and actually talk to me, it just drove me to, you kept telling me that I could do it, and you told me about your story, and I was just like in awe. So don't ever doubt the impact that you make on other people. It's really, really huge. You've done that for a lot of my team too, and I really appreciate it. So anyway, I'll just start off by telling you a little bit about me. I'm married to my high school sweetheart. We've been married for 26 years now. We met again in high school, and I joined, he joined the Air Force first. We went off to college. That didn't work out so well. So he joined the Air Force, and then about a year later, I joined the Air Force as well. And I stayed in for about 7.5 years, did 2 enlistments, and then I got out. So I've kind of just been bounced around, just doing job after job, all different kinds of things. I was a hairdresser. I've worked in an accounting department. I've been a preschool teacher. I've worked at the mall. I've sold other MLM products. I've just kind of done whatever I could do at every base that we went to, because a lot of you are military spouses, and as you know, you can't really, it's really hard to have a career. And so that's what I love about Plexus, is that when we move again, and we'll probably move in another year or retire, whichever comes first, we don't really, I don't have to quit. So that's been really, really awesome for me. Just like I said, I've been kind of following my husband around for 26 years now. It's been a great life for us. It's definitely not always been easy. there's definitely challenges for moving around. And as far as my health goes, y'all, I've been sick since I was probably about 10 years old. It started when I had a cyst on my spleen that was about the size of a grapefruit. And for a 10-year-old that's, 70 something pounds, it was huge. So I had to have major surgery and have that removed. And my gut health has never been the same. Never. I mean, it's just been messed up since then. So as I got to be a teenager, it just kind of got worse and worse from there. And I've had, over the years, debilitating IBS symptoms, constipation, diarrhea. I mean, to the point of passing out, like, really severe. And every doctor I ever went to, they never came up with a diagnosis. They just told me that it was my nerves. And, I knew that there was something more going on. So over the years, I had a severe IBS, debilitating pain in my legs, and really my whole body. I mean, I just hurt all the time. And for somebody my age, that started in my 20s. I mean, that, as you can imagine, when you're having babies, I had 3 babies, that just kind of got worse and worse. And so I felt like I was an 80-year-old woman. And so I finally found out that my middle son was allergic to gluten and dairy, or intolerant. I don't know if allergic is the right word. And so I started thinking that maybe that could be something, that was wrong with me. So I did go on a gluten-free, dairy-free diet about 13 years ago. And it helped some, not completely though. And so that just kind of started my journey of looking into natural health and just trying to find things that would heal my body naturally. And it kind of honestly became an obsession. I tried to help myself, and then I had 3 children, and 2 of them also had the gluten issues and just a kind of a lot of the same issues that I had. So it was, it was kind of I was on a mission to figure out what I could do, because doctors, every time I went, nothing against doctors, it's just that our experience, they just didn't help us. And so I pretty much lived at health food stores, and I did, juicing, green smoothies. And at the time that I joined Plexus, I was doing CrossFit about 5 days a week. I was running. I was, again, doing all these, green smoothies, juicing, gluten-free, dairy-free diet. And y'all, I was in probably the best, like, physical shape as far as, the CrossFit and stuff, but I was exhausted all the time. I fell asleep on the couch at like 7 o'clock every night, and it just, was getting worse and worse. And I had a lot of bladder infections, just kind of back to back. And that's really about the time that I started seeing Julia Carty post on Facebook, or actually not even Facebook. We were Instagram friends. And once she started posting about it, I thought, she was posting about a lot of things that I'd already been studying about. And so it just really intrigued me. And so I watched her for probably 3 or 4 months, y'all, before I ever reached out to her. We weren't even Facebook friends at the time. And I think I friended her on Facebook, and then I started following her some more. And I finally reached out to her, and she started sharing with me about her daughter, one of her daughters, who was having some similar issues that I was having. So that's just kind of how my health journey started. I was one of those people that it didn't, I started taking the products, and I didn't get better overnight. Like some people take it and they're like, oh, I feel great, after 2-3 days. It was not like that for me. I had a lot of candida diet symptoms, and I would definitely say I probably felt worse before I felt better. So if you have people that that start and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm constipated, or I'm bloated, or I'm exhausted, please encourage them to keep going. If you want me to talk to them, I will, because I know what it's like to be on both sides of the fence, and I know how much better my health is now, and just really how our life has changed just because my health has changed. That's huge. My family, it was, imagine being married to somebody that goes to sleep at 7 o'clock every night. It's pretty boring, for all these years. So I think it's just been just good for our entire family. So again, I had the diet symptoms, and I don't know. I just can't say enough about how much better I feel. When I started Plexus 21 months ago, we had just moved from Italy to Virginia. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about when I started the business. I kind of knew when I was in Italy that I wanted to start this, but I wasn't allowed to sell over there. So I waited until the day after we moved to Washington, D.C., and we didn't have a house. We didn't have internet. Actually, we didn't even have cell phones. We got them a couple of days after we got here, but I made my first post on Facebook that day, and then I haven't stopped since then. So we were traveling for probably about a month, and I started it when we didn't, like I said, we didn't even have a house or anything, and it just kind of, it kind of went from there. I think the first month I signed 8 ambassadors. The second month I signed 8 ambassadors. And so I wouldn't say it's super fast, but, I felt like I was doing pretty good. I was kind of on a roll. And I felt like I was well on my way to Leaders Retreat, even though I kind of started a month late. I felt like I was doing pretty good. And then y'all, sometimes you're going along in life and things seem really awesome. And then, tragedy hits, and it kind of brings me to tears a little bit. But that September, my sister-in-law committed suicide. And I had just stayed with her. The kids and I had just stayed with them for part of that month, right after we had moved back from Italy. So it was devastating for our family, and it just kind of, it kind of halted my business at the time. I didn't feel like, it was something that I could just keep posting on Facebook about, because my brother was going through this horrible, horrible time, and really all of us were. We just really, didn't know what to do. And so I'd say it was probably a very dark time in our family. We were all in shock, and I did a lot of praying during that time, and I learned to lean on the Lord more than I ever had. I know that His plan is always perfect. We may not ever, we didn't understand at the time, and I don't know if we ever really will understand why, but at the time, I just had no choice but to lean on the Lord. And I think that kind of, it kind of pushed me in my Plexus journey too. It just kind of was something that I needed at the time. Once we kind of got over the initial shock, then I kind of eased back into the business. And I was kind of on a mission because I'd read so much about how gut health, was related to your brain and to depression and those kinds of things. So it drove me again to find out, what I could do to help other people so this wouldn't happen to them. And so, during that time, the very next month was Leaders Retreat, and the back office hit. And so I know that some of you on here were with us during that time, during the back office, when they brought on the new back office. And obviously there were, a lot of issues that happened in the back office, but I just didn't use that as an excuse. When I joined that same month, there were several other people that joined at the same time, and they were killing it. And several of them are jewels right now. Most of them made Emerald about this time last year. And, if there's any one piece of advice that I can give you is that whenever you see people ranking up around you, do not compare your journey. And I know y'all, you hear that all the time, but this business and really anything in your life is all about God's timing. Now, I'm not saying to use God's timing as an excuse to sit back and not work your business, because I definitely don't believe that. But just don't sit back and just say, oh, God's going to take care of it. I don't really have to work it. People just come to me. That is not how this works. So I just had to keep reminding myself that, I had to, my husband, during all the back office stuff, my husband was really my rock. I think some days he didn't know when he came home, if I was going to be high or low or what, but I just did not let that stop me. He was very encouraging, and I just jumped in and I drew my line in the sand right then, and I was like, I'm going to do this. And I felt like, I had brought all these people into the business at that point, and that was my responsibility to help them. And I can definitely say that our uplines were always super, super amazing. They did not ever complain. They may have complained to each other, but they sure didn't complain to me or any of their downlines. And so that was something that I learned early on, is that, this business is always going to have ups and downs, but don't ever complain to your downlines, ever. Like, it doesn't matter what it is. Do not complain to them. Find either your upline. If you can't talk to them, find a sideline. Find a running partner, even if they're definitely not in your downline. Just somebody that you can talk to and share the good times and, maybe the not so good times, because there will be some. And again, I thought, that I had a responsibility in my team to make sure that I helped them through that. And so that's exactly what I did. During this time, my sister-in-law, that happened, the back office happened, and Leaders Retreat was going on right here in DC. We live in Northern Virginia, so only about an hour away, and I didn't make it that year, y'all. So if you're sitting here and convention's coming up and you didn't, win some prizes that you thought you were going to, or that you're working hard for or whatever, don't let that discourage you, because, just let it drive you to keep pushing. And just because you don't reach one goal doesn't mean you need to quit. I didn't reach that goal, but I just, I honestly kind of stayed off Facebook for a couple of days and didn't watch all the pictures. But then as soon as it was over, I was like, you know what, I'm doing this. I'm not going to let anything stop me. And I didn't. Again, that year, my oldest son joined the military. My middle son graduated from high school and went off to college in August. And my daughter was doing competitive cheer. So needless to say, with all that going on in my personal life, I just had a lot. It was a lot going on, and I didn't use any of that as an excuse. I've been on several trips the last couple of weeks, and I've had to fly a lot, and I actually really hate flying. But we went through some storms, and I've kind of learned a trick when I'm flying, and that's to get out my headphones and put my headphones in and read a book. I turn up my music and I just read a book. Because before I did that, I would just always be staring out the window and watching the plane, kind of shake a little bit. And that just would terrify me. I would just get all shaky and just a nervous wreck. And I mean, that's, you can't be like that and fly as often as I have lately. So it got me to thinking that, it's kind of like our business. And your Plexus journey. You have so many things happen when I first started that I could easily use any one of them to not get on calls, to not do my 531, to not do my IPA. But I didn't. And y'all, you've got to keep your eyes straight ahead. There are going to be times, this past month, there were a ton of rank ups. And a lot of people, hitting a lot of personal goals. And I think sometimes that can be real discouraging to people if you're, maybe you haven't hit that goal, because y'all have been there. I don't want you to think that just because somebody reaches Emerald that they don't have, they don't have those ups and downs in the business, because you do. But you can't just say, oh my gosh, I didn't reach that goal, I'm just quitting. You've got to, write your goals down if you have to. Put them on your screensaver. Write them and put them, on your wall on your computer. Put them on your refrigerator. Whatever you have to do to remind yourself over and over why you're doing this and what your goals are. I've had to do that over and over. And again, get somebody that's either in the business or not. It may be a family member or somebody else that's on one of the Plexus teams that you can talk to and that will encourage you whenever you're having, a bad day. And I don't want to make it sound like I've had a ton of bad days, because I've had a ton of wonderful days, but there are days that are discouraging. So, like I said, I didn't use that as an excuse to not train my team. I knew if I wanted this, I had to just do it, y'all. I didn't look around at the people, who are flying up the ranks. I tried not to get discouraged with back office, although sometimes, you can get discouraged, but what I've learned is this company is absolutely amazing, and they fix whatever problems are out there, they fix it. So I've just learned not to, stress about those things and just keep my eyes on my goal. This business is all about consistency. And so I decided no matter how long it took me, that I was going to be better off with what I was making, really no matter what rank I was, than I than what I was before I started. And, what I was bringing in then, which was nothing. I mean, I was a stay-at-home mom, so I was not bringing in anything to help our family out before that. So I've heard people say, they don't want to take time away from their family. I agree with that to a point, but I think it's very important to explain to your spouse and your children why you're doing this, and it's so that you can have time freedom and financial freedom, for them later. So yes, you may have to, work really hard now, but there will come a time when it's going to pay off, and you'll be very, very thankful. Y'all, this is so, so worth it. Like I said, my husband's been a huge encourager for me on days when I was discouraged. He encouraged me to lean on the Lord for a lot of things, personally and for my business. So, when I first started, oops, got a few notes here. When I first started, sorry, I just lost my train of thought here. When I first started, I didn't really, one of my goals was that he could retire. Like I said, he's been in the Air Force for 27 years. And that's been one of my goals, because we've got kids that are kind of all over the place now. We've got parents that are getting older, and we really, our goal is to retire and, to be able to travel and see our children, and just to be able to be there for our parents and stuff, and to be able to help others that, are less fortunate than us. So I feel like the Lord's blessing us with both of those, because we're kind of at a point that we can make that decision. We just haven't made it yet, but we're at the point that we can. So it's just been huge for our family. Okay. So, I told you a little bit about my health journey and, and my journey with the business, but I just want to give y'all a few tips on, the business side that I've learned along the way. Again, some of you maybe already be doing some of these things. It's just, I think what we've done is just stay consistent from the very beginning, from 20 months ago. So when I first started, I watched every single thing that my upline, Joy Carty, posted on her team page. If she had never added me to her team page, I probably would not be a Jewel today. I probably would have never even started selling, actually. So I think it's very important, obviously, that y'all add people to team pages. It doesn't matter if they want to work the business. Everybody needs to be added if you have a team page, added to your team page and the closest Jewel team page. So again, when I started, I wanted to be a Jewel. That was my goal. I remember sitting at a convention last year. I was sitting in the nosebleed section, and I was like, I'm going to be down there next year. And so that's kind of what, I set my goal for that, to make it by July 31st. And so it's happened. So it's really awesome. But I didn't really know how I was going to do that, but I knew that I had huge belief in the products, and, that is super important. And having belief in the company, y'all, this company is amazing. I just got back from Dallas, and that's another whole story. But I mean, they just, they treat their ambassadors really, really good. So I'm just going to, again, tell you a few things that we've done. I'm not like a huge fluff kind of person. My team probably knows that. I hope that I encourage them, but I like to give more action steps, because I guess that's the kind of person I am. I just want somebody to tell me what to do, and I do it. So I feel like that's just a given if you want to succeed in this business. Again, Julia added me to her team page, and it kind of all started from there. I started doing exactly what Julia, Angie, and Ellen all taught me to do, and that was to duplicate. I never tried to recreate the wheel, because they already had everything laid out, for me. So what they taught me to do was, of course, posting on Facebook every single day, doing your 5-3-1. And those are just, to me, that's just a no-brainer. If you're not posting on Facebook every day and you tell me you want this, I just don't believe you. Like that is just a no-brainer. And I'm not trying to be harsh, y'all, but if you're not posting on Facebook, how's anybody going to even know that you're doing this? And how, even if you don't have one person that's liking or commenting your post, your team needs to see you doing that. So there are going to be seasons that maybe you're busy or maybe, you know, you're not feeling it right now, whatever. It doesn't matter. If you want to go to the top, that is like bottom line. You have to be posting on Facebook every day. So I did the, you know, the 5-3-1, posting on Facebook and training my team consistently. That's just, you know, those are just the basics. Okay, so number one, as soon as someone tells me they want to do the business, we get them on a 3-way Zoom call. I hope y'all are all doing that. And I try to do a lot of, you know, small calls. We do big calls too, but I feel like it's really important that you get them on that 3-way Zoom call, so that you can get to know those people, get to know their why, and their upline gets to know their why. And so you can, you know, it's just a smaller setting. They feel more comfortable to ask questions. We also do 3-way messages with a new person. So say if I signed Angie up, then I would send a message to Angie and then to my 2 uplines and introduce them and just say, hey, this is my new friend Angie. She's my newest ambassador. We met, blah, 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 you know, and she's either interested in the products or the business. That just kind of, you know, lets me know as the upline what they're interested in. And that way I kind of know where to go with the conversation, because I'm not just going to pounce on somebody about the business if that's not what they're interested in. I don't pounce on anybody anyway, but you know what I mean? It's just kind of it just kind of lets us know where to go with the conversation. And also something else that we do is, and I hope y'all have these too, but we have a chat group that it started out with just, you know, my level ones. And so it's kind of grown. It's called Brandy's Runners, and anybody that joins for the business, we add them. Of course, we always ask them, but we add them to that chat group. And I think that has actually been really, really key in our new people feeling like they're plugged in right away. They have a way to ask, because y'all a team page, especially as big as mine is now, it can get overwhelming, and they can ask a question that may not get answered on there just because sometimes it gets lost. So I think, you know, these chat groups go right to your phone and you can get an answer right away. And we have a lot of people really all over the world, because we're a military team. So we have people in different countries and stuff. So there's always somebody awake to answer these questions. So I think that chat group has been really, really key. I have a couple of other threads, you know, going on as well, but I think it's, you know, just really important to get them plugged into a thread somewhere right away when they first start. I've noticed that since we've been doing that so many more people, are more willing to start posting, and they just feel more confident because they know that they've got somebody to ask. And even, you know, it's not just their upline, because I mean, y'all know as your business grows, you get busier and busier. And so it just helps to have that connection. And I think everybody, you know, some people join this business just for the community aspect. So I think a lot of people just feel like, you know, they've made friends, because we all have, and we've kind of become a big family. And I think that has just kind of what has helped us be very successful. If we need somebody to comment or like on our post, we go on that thread and we ask, and you've got like 5 or 10 people, you know, making comments on your post right away. So it's just been really, really helpful. So, you know, you've got to make sure that whatever you're doing, it's a duplicatable system. It's something that is, you know, you can train your team on really easy. We have a checklist that I send everybody when they have a new ambassador join. And hopefully all of y'all have that too, but it's just so they don't skip any steps. And I remind people often about that. Okay, so the second thing that we do is a lot of contests. I put a lot of money back into my team. I've kind of done that from the beginning. And I'm not saying that you have to spend a ton of money on your team, but just little prizes along the way, because on my team in particular, I have a lot of competitive people. You know, I've learned that about them, and I wouldn't say that I'm really competitive, because I think I'm one of those people that I just do the work, whether I'm in a contest or not. But I have some people that really, really, really love to compete. And then I have some that really work for prizes, and others that will just, you know, work. It doesn't matter what the prize is. They're just going to work so they can win it. And I love that about my team. So some of the contests, I would say that probably almost every single weekend, I don't think I did one this past weekend because I was in Dallas, but usually I always plan ahead, and we do these posting contests. It usually starts Friday. It goes in Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I usually give away some Plexus swag or something like that. But it's, I just feel like that is something that, you know, they work all week, and then sometimes on the weekends they're like, oh, just, you know, not doing anything. Well, I think these posting contests really help those people that maybe they haven't been posting all week, and, you know, they work or something. And so they're going to jump back in. It kind of keeps them focused, kind of tells them what to post about. And it kind of keeps my team going over the weekend. When I notice that I don't do it, I feel like my team slows down on those weekends. So that has been really key for us. I've had a lot of people tell me that they love it because it does kind of keep them on track. If I post it, say on Thursday night or Friday morning, then they can buffer those posts for the whole weekend and they're done. So if you're not using, you know, those posting apps, make sure you're using them. Y'all, it's important. I still use them when I'm going to go out of town. I've been out of town a lot. I've really, really relied on that. I just don't feel like if you really want this, you just can't make excuses. You know, there's so many tools out there. I mean, you can plan ahead, you know, just sit down one night where you're watching TV, sitting there with your family, and just, you know, go save a bunch of posts, and you can put them in those apps and schedule them out for, you know, a couple of weeks from now. I just don't think that's an excuse necessarily. Okay, so number 3, I feel like you should never, ever be desperate for points, or have your team feel like you're desperate for points. I feel like we should always be, you know, have our ambassadors' best interest at heart. And I just think that's really, really important. If you put an emphasis on helping them rank up, you're going to automatically rank up yourself. You know, I mean, if you're helping them, then that's going to obviously move you up. And I just feel like people need to see that you're willing to help them, you're willing to put in the work, and not just when it's time for you to rank up. I'm not really a huge numbers person. I hate math. But I feel it's really important to set your goals and to help your team members reach their goals. You know, set your goals and help them set their goals. Will it take time? Yes, it will take time, but, you know, I don't know any other job in the world that, yeah, it takes time, but y'all, I can be there for my family. I can go on trips. I can do whatever I want, but I just do have to take a little bit of time every day and work my Plexus business. Now, probably, you know, at the rank of Emerald or higher, I mean, I may be putting in a little bit more work than, you know, somebody that's maybe gold or something, but it's still about consistency. It's still, you know, you've still got to put that time in every single day. You know, and the number 4 is something that I've, you know, seen in some of my team members, and I started recognizing it myself. When I got to a certain rank, I think I got scared. I think there's a real thing that's called fear of success. And I really couldn't put my finger on it for a while until I heard someone talk about it on a Zoom call one time. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that is me. That is a real thing. And I'm not really sure exactly what I was scared of. I thought maybe, you know, once you reach a certain rank, there's a lot of expectations or whatever. But y'all, I can tell you, I don't think there's really anybody. There are exceptions, but I don't think anybody starts this business and they're automatically, you know, can do a call like this, or they can, you know, they know how to train their whole team, or they know how to deal with different personality types. Or I don't think that there's anybody that starts out that way. I know I certainly didn't. When I look back at my first team call, I just laugh because it was honestly just, I don't know. Y'all just have to watch it. I think it's on my YouTube channel. It's pretty embarrassing, but it's just something that I've had to do is push myself out of my comfort zone. And I know that my team, a lot of you are on here. Y'all hear me say it all the time. Fake it till you make it, y'all. You know, it's not, like I said, not many of us come into this business just knowing how to do all this, but self-development is really important. You know, read self-help books and network marketing books and leadership books. Leadership books are huge. Again, when I first started doing this, I could have never, 20 months ago, you would have never, I probably didn't even get on an actual team call, probably for the first 4 months. I didn't get on a call with Julia. And so that tells you how far you can come in 20 months. So let's talk about team pages. When I first started, I was taught, I think, or, that if you've got one person on your team that you're a leader, and I definitely believe that. If you have even one customer or one ambassador, you're a leader. But I was taught that if you have that one person, that you should have a team page. And that's kind of what I taught my team for a while, but now I don't necessarily believe that's true. I think we've kind of changed our outlook on that a little bit. I feel like if you, if you have a team page, y'all, this is a huge responsibility. And if you add people to a team page, then you need to be willing to put in the work to work that team page. You need to show up to work every day. I don't believe that you should, have a team page and post on it like once a week, y'all. That's a no-go. You've got to find your style as a leader, and, don't get a team page and just post everything that your upline posts. Because 9 times out of 10, all of your ambassadors are already on your upline's page. So you don't want them to just be bored or just feel like you're just, copying everything, because they will probably really not see you as a leader and just kind of go around you. So I would just encourage you to, really kind of make out a plan and decide, what you're going to do on your team page every day. If you're not sure what to do, that's what I had to do in the beginning. Now I kind of wing it a little bit, but it's because in my head, I know what I'm going to do every day. I would say at the very least, you should be posting on your team page 4 times a day. You can post a business post, a testimony, a product post, and, maybe something inspirational. It doesn't necessarily have to be those things, but if you need a guide to go by, I would say those are the 4 things that you should post about, because you have to remember that everybody on your team page, probably the majority of people on your team page, are just there for the wholesale prices. So you got to have something for everybody. And I just think that's really, really important. If if you're closer to gold and you still don't have anybody, that's really selling, or they're not sharing the products, then maybe, it just depends. If you're close to gold and you want to have a team page, I'm not saying don't have one. I'm just saying if you are going to make a team page, you really need to show up to work every day. If you work and you can't post throughout the day, there's a couple of apps that you can use called Postcron and Hootsuite. I use those a good bit, especially when I'm traveling, to post consistently on my team page. Especially, posting those testimonies and certain posts that your teams can share and those kind of things. So that's really important for brand new people. Sometimes they don't even have a clue where to start. So I try to make sure that I post those pretty often. Maybe not in the last 4 or 5 days, because we've been posting a lot about the new slam, which we're going to talk about in a minute. But just make sure that you're, planning ahead. If you do that, you'll be much more relaxed about your team page. You won't be stressing about it, especially if you're, like I said, if you work or traveling. A couple of things you need to do on that team page is, for one, your team needs to see your face at least once a week. That's something I learned from Joya. And if you're making, you can make a quick live video just checking in with everybody. Or if when I first started, I was like, I know I need to train my team, but I don't know what to train them on. And so somebody gave me the advice of, go find a video on YouTube or on the team pages, because we have tons, and take notes and then make your own video. Again, you do not have to recreate the wheel. There's so much information out there, y'all. So you don't have to wait on your upline or anybody to tell you what to do. Get out there and do it yourself. If you want this, you've got to make it happen. And having your team see you as a leader, I think, is really important. So you need to step up as leader and do things that you're asking your team to do, and including adding level 1s. You can never depend on your team to, get you to the top, because I promise you it does not happen like that. If they see you sitting back and doing nothing, then that's probably what they're going to do. I can tell you, anytime I've slacked off, my team slacks off. That's just how it is. So I feel like if you really want this, you've got to work for it. I'm not saying you have to work yourself in the ground or anything like that, but you need to come up with a plan and be consistent. That's what's worked for me. And I think it, for pretty much everybody on my team, that's kind of what I've seen. Okay. So that's pretty much, what I have about the business. And as y'all know, I was on the product, they call it a focus group for Plexus. I got an email back in February asking me if I would serve on this. And of course I was like, oh my gosh, yeah, of course I will. I mean, how exciting. And so I did. And let me open my thing up a little bit. Okay. I've got my water bottle here, and I apologize, but I left my swim in the other room. So I'm going to go grab one really fast. Before I do this, does anybody have any questions about anything that I was talking about? No?
And if you want, I mean, you can tap the questions in the little comment section, and Brandy can answer those. If you think of them while she's mixing up the slim, and feel free to type them in there. And I have some stuff after you're finished with that I was going to talk to you about.
Okay. Okay. So this is the new packaging. It is really, really pretty. I think it's really looks cutting edge, and it's got a new logo. So if y'all notice that, they changed all the logo, and all of the products are going to be, getting updated like this. I can't get it open. Sorry. Okay. So this is what it looks like, and it opens really, really easy. I think a lot easier than the other one. And you just pour it. This water is it was really cold, so it's still pretty cold. You just dump it in. And that's it. Like, it's all mixed up. There's no clumps or anything in it. And so I actually, when we were at the restaurant the other night with Julia, we all mixed it. We have water that actually had ice in it, and it mixed up, even with ice. So it's really good. I'm excited for y'all to get it, but I'm just going to tell you a little bit about my experience with it. I will say the first thing I noticed is that my mood was a lot better. And I really didn't think it could, obviously it can always get better, but I think that my husband even noticed that. It's just, I don't know, it just kind of makes me in a good mood. It's kind of like taking a happy pill. So I think when they say that, the health and happiness company is really true, y'all. I'm not just saying that. And a couple other people on the focus group noticed the same thing. So that's what I really love about it. I've lost 5 pounds, and I don't want everybody to think that she just drank Slim and lost 5 pounds. No, I did change my diet, but I've always been a huge carb person, and I feel like it helped me to not crave carbs. I was able to avoid them more, and I've never been able to do that. I mean, even, oh my goodness, I've just never been able to stop carbs, and so it's been a lot easier to do that. And I just feel good. So that's pretty much what I've noticed. Some of the other people did lose significant amounts of weight. And I think some of them said the same thing, that it was, they were able to control the carbs a lot better. And I think that's pretty much all I have.
That's awesome. And that's awesome to be able to be a part of that focus group. We're just a neat opportunity for you. And I know that we're all just dying to get our hands on the new Slim. So I cannot wait to try it out, because I could always use a little more happy for sure. So I was just going to touch on, well, first of all, it looks like we have some questions. So we've got someone that asked, is there any one thing that stands out that you never expected to experience as a result of joining Plexus?
Yes. Actually, there's probably several things, but y'all, I never expected to make this many friends. I mean, I didn't. That's probably one of the reasons that I wanted to be a part of it, because I saw, I said Julia and all her friends at convention, I was like, I'm going to do that. That looks fun. And that's one of the reasons that I decided to do the business too. So, and for me, not having a big team here in Virginia, the fact that I can go to all these places and, just be welcomed into these groups of people, and they're just all just like me. Like, we all have the same interest, and I don't know, that part has just been really a lot of fun.
Yes, I completely agree with that. So do y'all do anything for customers, team page wise, separate from ambassadors?
Yes. Okay. Now, wholesale customers, no. We add all of our wholesale customers just like ambassadors. They are ambassadors, so I feel like that's a privilege that they be added to our ambassador pages. Now, if they're just a regular retail or preferred customer, I think a lot of my team, we do have customer pages that we add our customers to. And I think that's really kind of been key in keeping our PV up and being able to, because on those, because our pages are secret, those pages are secret, you can post whatever you want on those closed groups. So I think that's kind of been key for us. And sometimes I think some of us have started adding people, maybe they're interested in the products of the business or something, and they can't necessarily see testimonies or different things that will add them to those customer pages. I always ask. I never just add anybody, because I hate it when somebody does that to me. So I always make sure that I ask them. My customer page is just for my personal customers. I know some of our Randy and Tina, I think some of them have, they have customer pages for everybody on their whole team. So it just depends on how you want to do that. But for me personally, I think it was just easier for me to manage my own customers that way. I can run specials, or I can do videos, or I can do whatever it is I want to do with my own customers. So that's kind of what we do.
Okay, so when you went to convention last year, you said you wanted to be Emerald at convention this year. So what rank were you last year?
I was Ruby.
Ruby? Okay.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. You had just turned Ruby? Mm-hmm. Okay. And then, talk about the new Slim. Why does it dissolve more readily, and why is the color different?
Well, I should know this. It's got something in it. I forget the ingredient that makes it more fine and just dissolves easier. Y'all, I will find that out, but I don't know the answer right off the top of my head. Why is the color different? I think it's because of the flavors that are in it. I honestly don't know the answers to that. I'm really sorry. I can find out.
You're like me.
I'm really sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. So what is your best advice for an ambassador that's feeling discouraged?
Okay, first of all, I would say for me, I did a lot of praying, y'all. And I asked God to give me peace about what I was doing, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you that there haven't been times I've been discouraged. My goal since I started was every month to add 3 ambassadors to go silver. Y'all, there have been plenty of months that I didn't. I mean, I don't want to sit here and sugarcoat it and say, oh, I've added 3 ambassadors every single month since I joined. No, I haven't. I added a lot early on, but sometimes your warm market can get, you have to go out there and find new people, and I'm starting to add new ambassadors again, but you just can't be, it's always going to be like a roller coaster. And I think you just have to, keep looking forward and not looking around you, what everybody else is doing. I cannot stress that enough, y'all. When you see those people at the end of the month that are ranking up, go follow them. Don't get jealous or get upset that you're not ranking up. Go follow those people because they're doing something right. Mm-hmm. That's what I did. I mean, like I said, some of the jewels started about the same time I did. And so I just went and followed them, and I asked for their advice, and they were so sweet to help me. and find people like that that will, pour into you and give you advice. Try not to, don't let jealousy take over, because it's so easy to do, y'all. It's so easy to like, dadgummit, why are they ranking up and I'm not? So just keep your eyes on your goal and nobody else's, because it's all about, everybody's journey is just going to look different.
Yeah, and I'll just add something in there. I think a lot of times, because I've definitely had many times where I felt very discouraged and wanted to quit or whatever. But the thing is, you always kind of put it back on yourself and what you're doing to grow your business, and really making sure that you're doing those IPAs and those daily things and holding yourself accountable. Because action's going to create momentum, and action's also going to kill fear and doubt. But like Brandy said, really working on, I'm huge on, leaning on the Lord, but really working on that personal development, that personal growth and development. So things like what to say when you talk to yourself, or switch your brain on, or things like that you might need to really work on yourself before you can advance in the company or be a better leader or ambassador or whatever it is. So what if you have 3 ambassadors on your team that are strictly wholesale and have no desire to sell?
Okay, I'm going to back up to that question that you were just talking about, Angie, and just say, I agree with you, because a lot of times, if you're not succeeding, you're not, adding your ambassadors or whatever, and you're just discouraged. Like she said, honestly, if you're really, really being honest with yourself, you can look back and say, did I really do my 5-3-1 every single day? Because y'all, if you're doing that, really, things are going to happen. You're going to start seeing some action eventually. If you're not, take your messages and let your upline look at them and see what you can do better. Maybe it's just something simple. Maybe you're sending way too much information, or maybe you're not sending enough, or, but try to get help. Don't just sit back and be, just completely discouraged, but to really be honest with yourself. Are you really doing the action stack sheets every day? So.
And y'all, I started doing those action stack sheets because I was kind of feeling in this funk like November, December. And that's just a slow time in our business. There's going to be some slow times. And so I just committed to doing those action stack sheets, and I did them January, I did them February, and like really nothing. And then all of a sudden, March, April, like now people are responding back. Now people are jumping on board. So just because you start doing that consistently, and you're sending the good messages, and you're kind of doing all the right things, it doesn't mean it's all of a sudden going to happen. You have to be consistent. Usually what you do 30, 60 days is going to come on that, 30, 60 days out. So you really have to be consistent and be patient, to kind of plant those seeds and wait for the harvest.
Exactly.
So that one question it says, and I'm really not sure what they're asking, is what if you have 3 ambassadors on your team, okay, but they are strictly for wholesale pricing, and have no desire to sell?
Yeah. Well, okay. That's awesome, but you just need to keep adding little ones. If you don't have it, I always tell everybody, because you do your 5-3-1, you reach out to 5 new people, you train, or you follow up with 3, and you train 1 person. If you don't have anybody to train because they're not interested in the business, then you train yourself. You just got to keep training yourself and keep adding level 1s until you find somebody that wants to sell.
We have so many, we have Jules on our team, that only signed up for, Ellen Ford, Lindsay Russell, they only signed up for the wholesale discount. And now, they're, Andrea Mitchell, like only signed up for the wholesale discount, and now they're diamond ambassadors. So just because someone wants wholesale pricing does not mean that they will not eventually be your diamond in the rough, or, whatever. So, having someone with wholesale, that wants the wholesale pricing, you still baby them. You still really work with them and treat them like, your special customer, and really work and make sure that they like the products, because one day, they could be your diamond.
Right. I will say, I see Jerry Helton on here right now. She's been taking the products for 2 years, y'all. And she just came to me last week and said, okay, I'm ready to sell. I was like, oh, okay. I was super excited about that. But I mean, she's just been a faithful wholesale customer for 2 years. She never commented on anything on my team page. She never, she did tell me that she might do it when, sometime, but that was really it. And so she's been doing her homework. I mean, you can tell that it's not that she's never looked at anything on my page. She's obviously kind of been a fly on the wall like I was on Julia's page. I just watched everything for like 4 months and never asked anything, so you're going to have people that are, if you add them to those team pages, I've got a bunch of people on here that's what happened. I added them to the team page, and then eventually, it was the right time and they decided to sell. So those 3 people that you have right now, they might just be in it for the products right now, but, eventually they may want to sell.
Okay, so what do you do if you run out of people to friend that you have met? And what is your experience wearing closed water bottles with advertising it out in public?
Okay.
Advertising Plexus out in public, bringing in customers.
Okay. Okay, what do you do if you run out of people to friend that you've met? Well, I will say, without trying to sound like a smart aleck, that there is an entire world of people out there. So, friend people at the grocery store, friend your kids' teachers. You have to go out and find people, y'all. Join a Bible study, join an exercise group, join other groups on Facebook. There's always group. There's like a little area on Facebook that you can go, and it says, groups. And you go in there and find these groups and start conversations with people, or go to Instagram. I've got the training that's on my YouTube channel about Instagram. Brandy Underwood did it, and it's an awesome training, y'all. She knows what she's doing, and she just, she may be on here. Somebody signed up not too long ago from Instagram, and she wants to do the business. So, I mean, there are people, and this is somebody that she didn't know. So there's ways to do the business, even if you feel like you've run out. There's always people out there. Go through old yearbooks and go through your husband's friends list. And if you've ever, even remotely met them, add them as a friend. Or even y'all just got mutual friends. Maybe you have 4 or 5 mutual friends. Add them. I've actually had quite a few people join my team that we were Facebook friends for like 2 days. So there's ways to go about adding new friends. Angie, do you have any?
Yeah, and I would say, like, a lot of times, even myself, a lot of times if I feel like I'm like, okay, I'm diamond, so surely I have reached out to everybody on my list. Y'all, you know what? I throw away my list and I start all over again. And I start writing out my list again. And I start like brand new, like I hadn't reached out to these people before. And sometimes I go through and I'm like, how in the world have I been doing this for 3 years and I haven't reached out to this person? Or, so a lot of times you find when you kind of take it back to basics and just start fresh and start all over again, you realize that, like, you feel like you've reached out to everyone, but you really haven't. And if you've reached out to someone and they haven't responded, then that's still, like someone that, so you really kind of just never run out, because there's people that either haven't responded, that you're still following up with, that you're still, that maybe you go through your list and you realize that you never even have reached out to them before. I've gone through my list, y'all, and I've looked and I'm like, oh my gosh, I told that person I was going to send them a sample, and it's like a year later and now they've joined somebody else's team or whatever, so I feel like if you really, just kind of take it back to the basics, but then, like Brandy's saying, like every time I meet someone, I am a huge, like, wear your Plexus swag. I'm like, I think I have Plexus swag on right now. Wear your Plexus swag out in public. Y'all, I mean, one of my rock stars on my outside leg, I was really nervous about when I moved to Florida about just coming, going at people with Plexus, because I was more concerned about building relationships and having friends. And one of my really, good people now that she's almost Ruby, and what brought it up is I had a shirt on that said "God bless Plexus," and she's like, "Ooh, I love that shirt. I want one of those." And what is Plexus? And so then we just started, and so it's a very easy conversation starter. Y'all, I promise. My water bottle, I've gotten a water at the grocery store, and then put my Slim in there, shook it up, and then handed it to the register, at the register, for them to ring it up. And it's so funny when you do that, because the person looks at you like, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's my water. I just put my Slim in it. And then, the person's like, oh, what is Slim? And then we start talking about it. Or, you know what, if I get really good service from a waiter, or, if I get really good customer service from the girl in the checkout line, I'm like, oh my goodness, you are the sweetest thing. You have great customer service. I'm always looking for people like you in my business. Hey, what do you do? Can I friend you on Facebook and we can kind of chat a little more about it? So always be looking for ways to bring it up. Wear your Plexus swag, friend new people that you meet on Facebook, and let it kind of happen sometimes organically. Doing those different groups, getting out there and getting involved, I think is really important. So what do you do when people don't answer your cold message? I think you kind of answered that, is what you were saying. Sometimes I think, going to your upline, and saying, okay, this is what I'm sending. What do you think I need to send? That's what you were kind of sharing earlier. Or, maybe what you're sending is too long, or, right, that's what you were kind of sharing earlier.
Right. And so sometimes people just, maybe their kid, I've learned to not take it personally. When somebody doesn't answer my message, that doesn't mean it's a no. It could mean their kid opened their phone and, or it popped on their computer when they were in the kitchen and it looks like it was red, but they never saw it. I mean, that happens a lot. So I would just say, don't always take it personally if somebody doesn't answer your message, or maybe they're at work and they can't really, answer it right then. Maybe they're going to answer it this weekend or even next month. I mean, I've had that happen. So I don't take it personally, but if definitely you're getting zero responses for a really long time, then I would definitely, let somebody look at your messages.
And you got to remember, Plexus is at the forefront of our mind, because that's our business. That's what we do. Before Plexus, I mean, I was a busy mama. I was a working mama. I was whatever. And responding to my Facebook messages was the last thing I wanted to do. And Plexus was not at the forefront of my mind. And so I heard somebody else say this, and I don't even know what they said, but a lot of times you've got to get at the forefront of their mind. And maybe it's not through the Facebook messaging, but maybe you really need to look at that person, look at their life, and see what they're posting about. Are they posting about, needing more energy? Are they posting about whatever? And start tailoring your post to their needs and kind of get to them that way. But also make sure that you are not just sending people cold messages, but you are also engaging and commenting in their posts, because that is another way to kind of get yourself to the forefront of their mind.
Exactly.
What are action stacks? And actually, if you're on Pink Dynasty, I have some, and I think it's called Daily Action Plan. It would be found in the file section. But if you're not on that page and you want to be a part of that page, or if you're on the Team Zoom Walk page, either one of those pages, it should be on there. But I can also send that to you separately if you're not on that page and you would like to use that. Okay, so I am very close to gold and struggle with my team setting their convenience orders. How can I get them to be sure to do that?
Well, what we do for our team is, and you probably, even they already do this too, but we send directions every single time we have somebody that wants to send. We don't just say, oh, here's my website, just go to my website. We always send written directions, has the convenience order in there, and is and why they should do it. And it's just part of, when they sign up, that's just one thing they do. And we really need to stress that, that when you're signing up to take these products, that you really need to be committed for 60 to 90 days. Otherwise, you're not going to see the results that that you're looking for. And a convenience order is just that, so that you don't have to think about it, so that you don't run out of your products and risk not getting your results that you want. So definitely send directions every single time. If you can, if you got a lot, this happen a lot, train your people to get on the phone, or pull up their computer and go through it with them and help them set up their convenience order. But directions are super important. If you don't have those, I can send them to you, because that's just, if you got a team page, you'll be posting those very often, and tell people to save them in the notes of their phone.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I kind of, it's like, you don't really give them the option to not set it up, because when they don't set up their convenience order, when you don't help them do that, you're basically setting them up for failure. Because that person, Chris McCall did a great video on this. He's an Emerald ambassador. But basically, he's saying that you're setting them up for failure, because every month they're going to have to make that intentional buying decision. And then, that's when like doubt can creep in. And 80%, we did the statistics. One of the Joels did the statistics, and it's like 80% of the ambassadors that that do not set up a convenience order quit. And that's just, so you really want to make sure. And if someone does not want to set up the convenience order, then they're probably going to make a better customer. So you really, that needs to be one of the requirements, is like, look, you need to set up your convenience order in order, you need to really commit to 60, 90 days of taking these products consistently, working with me, letting me help you, so that you can be successful. So, and just really like, when you're level 1, sign someone up, really looking at and saying, okay, this convenience order isn't turning on, and really working with them and kind of letting that duplicate down to make sure that you're stressing the importance of doing that.
Yes.
So, and you know what? Sometimes you could make that like a little team contest, like, hey, $25 gift incentive, or, whatever you want to do, for everyone that gets their convenience order turned on and set up by the 15th of the month, or whatever like that. That's something that maybe you could do some kind of incentive thing, to kind of get your people to do that. Let's see. When you're out in public and someone asks, what is Plexus, how do you respond?
I usually say that it's Plexus is a health and wellness company that has products that help with blood sugar, inflammation, and blood pressure and weight loss. Yeah, that's the 4 things. And that's in a nutshell. Angie, do you have something different that you say?
Well, it just depends, because I had one time where someone asked me, and I was like, in the middle of some sit-ups, and the My Orange Theory trainer asked me, and I was like, it's a drink. My husband's like, fail. So you can be a hot mess and mess up and still be a diamond, y'all. It happens. But I'm kind of just, it's a health and wellness company that focuses on gut health, blood sugar, inflammation. And I always think of like big blood sugar, inflammation, gut health. And that's like an easy way for me to remember, that focuses on blood sugar, inflammation, gut health. Like that's kind of just my quick little thing that I would say. So I think that is all the questions we have here. So we kept you a little over, and I apologize for that, but it was such a great call. Brandy, you did a phenomenal job, and I'm so proud of you, and I'm so proud of the leader that you are. And thank you for, you encourage me so much, and I just want to thank you for that. So I cannot wait to see you again at convention.
Thank you so much. This has been
Oh, yes, you did such a fabulous job. I'm so proud of you.
awesome. Wait, can I take a picture real fast?
Yes, you can.
I can't see all of y'all, but
You can do like the little.
how do I do it to make it?
If you hit the little thing that's like all the little squares, it'll make it look like the Brady Bunch.
Oh, yeah. I still can't see everybody. Y'all say cheese. Okay. Yay. Thank you guys for getting on. I really appreciate it. This is fun. Thanks for having me, Angie.
Thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Brandy.
Hey, y'all, and I will let you know, in 2 weeks, we're going to have Jill Renfro on our call, and she is a retired teacher, thanks to Plexus. So be ready, be on the lookout for that call. So anyway, y'all have a great night.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye.